Aunties. It's Caroline. I've literally just done a Disney Monday video showing Harry's outfit today, which is D is for Donald Duck, his romper. And I've put a bib on him now, which is Winnie the Pooh. And hello to Auntie Sherry Kent, who loves Winnie the Pooh. I'm going to feed Harry. He's due for his lunch. Well, it's tea time now, actually. He's due for his tea. And so I thought I'd do KELLIE Girls Tag, which is collecting reborns in your family while I feed him. So for his lunch, he's got blueberry and pear baby brekkie. It's quite nice. It says from 6 months. Harry is about 6 months. I envision him to be about 6 months. And it's 100% organic. I can fulfill 2 birds with 1 spoon here, because Annie likes this one too for her breakfast, because it's quite thick, like a porridge, but nice and smooth at the same time. And plus they are getting some really important nutrients in there. So this is a bowl that I'm using for Harry, and it's a travel bowl because you can put the food in here, put the lid on, and it's got a little clip here where you can clip the spoon in. So just lift that up and off you go. You take it on your travels with you. So I've got this one now that I'm using. Get that lid off without it all spratting everywhere. It does make a bit of a funny looking mess, obviously, because it's blueberry. So goodness me, what are his nappies going to be like? Millie is having a look. See if she fancies it. She gets really excited when I do the videos and always comes round because I think she's wondering who I'm talking to. And we're going to feed Harry. I'm going to feed him with his planes spoon, because everyone knows when you feed, you gotta make planes. And I'm going to turn him around so he's towards the TV, because he finds it quite relaxing. Get off, Mills, not on his spoon. Good girl. So I'm going to do that for him. Let me just make sure you can still see. I'm using my iPad. Yeah, you can still see. Come on up here, Millie. Come on, up. Come. Come on, up. Oh, I'm trying to get my dog to sit next to me so she's not so much of a pest. Okay, so this is for KELLIE Girl. I've really enjoyed listening to everybody's kind of like tags. I found Reborns when I started doing my, when I was going to counselling, and it was actually my counsellor who suggested, good boy, who suggested, God, I don't think I can do both things at once. It was my counsellor who asked if I knew to get a doll that represented me as a child and to help me out with my work. Millie's desperately trying to get some of your food, Harry, but we're not going to let her go away. Oh, not all up round your nose, mate. Not all up round your nose, messy pup. Get off, you're not licking his food off of him. Stop it. And so I did get this doll, and if you've seen my videos in my nursery, it was Jen. So I got this doll, Jen. And but it really wasn't enough. It wasn't lifelike enough. I couldn't, you know, I found it really weird trying to talk to her, my counsellor, through her, almost as part of my counselling treatment at the time. And I remembered the things that I'd come across on the TV, Reborns and lifelike dolls and things like that. And so I went online and had a look. My counsellor, when I went into counsellors the following week, she told me all about these places as well. You're a good boy, aren't you, Harry? Hey, are you a good boy? Are your mum's good boy? So I looked at one, I looked through and I thought, wow, there is no way my husband is going to let me spend this amount of money on a doll. No way. But because I said it was for the counselling, I told him it was all about counselling. He's very supportive about that. So now he's going to have some milk. Have some milk, mate. Hey, there, nicely. Come on, in your mouth. That's a good boy. I think it's easier now for me to talk. I got Annie. Well, what I did was I looked at Annie, and it was her original posting on eBay from her artist, Bonnie's Babies in America. And I thought, gosh, I loved her, and there was no way that I could afford her at all. And so I went back to my husband and told him, like, you know, we probably needed a bit more money to get a nice one. And good boy. And so it went on for a few more months. And then, lo and behold, I was searching just on eBay, like I usually am, shopping store of the world. And Annie was on there, second hand. The person who had bought her had put her up for sale again. So I kept her on my watch list, and she went down and down and down and down in price. And wow, would you believe I actually got her for a real bargain? And it kind of made me really bond with her, because it was like, she's the Annie sculpt from Donna Rupert, but it kind of made me bond with her even more, because it was like nobody wanted her, and she was like orphan Annie to me, and it's a similar sort of situation for me in my life. And so I got her. Oh my God, I was so thrilled. But when I actually got her, it was so hard for me to interact with her, not because of her being a doll, although obviously I did have a lot of those questions. What am I doing, a 40 some odd woman with a doll, wanting to play around with a doll like it's a real child? But my counsellor was so good and really, really helped me through all of that. And that just took, just a few months for me to be like, yoo-hoo, I'm going to do whatever I like. I love this doll. This doll represents me as a child. She's going to have everything that I envision that child wants. La 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 la. So that's where it really started with Annie. And then we got to a stage in my counselling that was about me miscarrying. I've lost 4 boys. I've got 3 real girl children, and I've got, just what time is, and I've got, I've had 4 miscarriages, and they were all boys. So I really thought that if I had a boy, that might help me overcome that. So if you ever see my photos on Facebook, I did have a little boy. He was beautiful, and I loved him. But I couldn't let go. It was kind of like I needed to let go of that stage in my life. Not forget, but not to have, I don't know. Anyway, what happened was I sold him on, and he was sold to a very good friend, and he is now my nephew. My friend has him. Sam, hi Sam, if you're watching. She has my little Finley. She kept his name, which was beautiful of her, and he is treasured by her, and I love that. I really love that. He was very, very special. It was like if I couldn't let go of him, I couldn't let go of the hurt of the past. So I moved on. I had a few other reborn dolls then, but they were never right. They were never. There was something wrong with them, and so I've sold, a couple on, but I still see them, and I am anti. Kept Annie throughout the whole thing, and then I decided that Annie needed a big sister. Yeah, good boy. Decided that, no, you leave his bottle. I decided that Annie needed a big sister. So that's when I wrote to the artist of Annie and asked her how much she would charge for a real-born child. So then I got Frankie, and my husband was really good then, knew how much the reborns were beginning to like loosen up parts of my life that I've always kept hidden and tried not to talk about, but have clearly affected my life. So he was fantastic with that. So up to this point, my children really weren't amused with my dolls. Now my girls are, now they're 21, 22, and 21, 22, and 26. My middle daughter was actually quite open and quite amazing with regards to them. Let's just wipe that off. Really, if you're feeding a reborn, you really don't really want to get any on him. And that just came off of the bib there. I really don't want to get any on him. It's role play after all. Anyway, my youngest daughter thought Mummy was very weird, couldn't understand it, why Mum had dolls and was now playing with dolls. But bearing in mind, all 3 of my girl daughters never liked dolls. They never played with dolls. It was teddy bears all the way for them. There's my little man. It was teddy bears all the way. So they really didn't get it. They didn't understand. My middle daughter, she was much better. She went with it. She bought me presents. She picked up things if she saw them. And then my eldest daughter started to become a bit more open-minded when I started to explain to her what it was really about. My youngest daughter still doesn't get it. I mean, I think she gets it and she understands, but it's still a bit weird, you know, for her to see her mum. They're used to seeing them. They don't live at home now. They're all used to seeing them because, like now, Harry's in his bouncer and in the lounge, and he's sat next door in my vintage pushchair. So they are always around, and Frankie's around and such. And then it's kind of like you get hit by the bug, really, don't you? The Coco Malou, I love the Coco Malou sculpt. But another lady that I know, another artist, was like, do you really want to get her? She's not going to be very realistic. She's still going to look like a dolly. So I put off getting her. And in the end, I thought, you know, a few months later, I thought, what the heck? Let me just get her. I love that face. It's become very apparent to me now that I need to have babies that I can interact with. So a sleeping baby isn't ideal for me. I love the big open mouth, smiley face. And then last year I asked my husband if I could have my Christmas present could be another Reborn. And he was like, don't you think you've had enough? I was like, no. I mean, that's a silly question. That's like me asking him, doesn't he have enough saws out in the garage, you know? So then I got Harry for Christmas. And at the moment, I think that is really... I'm quite happy with my little family. I can take Harry and Annie out, as you can see if you've seen one of my other videos, or I can just take one of them out. So I'm much more happier with it. And the 2 other dolls that I've got in my nursery, which are Ashton Drakes, Lizzie and Benji, they were gifts. So they were both gifted to me from my really good friend who knows how much I love them. And I've finally been able to, you know, really come together now with my love of dolls, because I never had a doll's pram as a child. I had one doll. I mean, I hardly had anything, so I'm having a great time collecting now. And you know, my husband's been really, really good about it all. He wouldn't ever go outside with me with them though, walking. He worries about what people think, whereas I totally don't. I'm like, you know, stuff you really. If you can't be open-minded, or you don't know my struggle, you don't know my life, and you don't know why I've got these wonderful little people. I meet up with a lot of reborn mummies, and I think I really am now the most relaxed I think I've been in my life. As far as any other family, I don't have any other family, my side, so that's fine. My husband's side, they just think I'm crazy anyway. And my friends that knew me before I had Reborns were like, well, Caroline's crazy anyway, so... I don't mean crazy, you know, they mean I'm very fun-loving and open and stuff like that anyway. And basically I've always done really kind of like what I wanted. Has my pretty boy had enough now? Hey, has my pretty boy had enough? Hey? Yeah, you're my girl as well, aren't you? Annie and Millie are so sweet together. And Millie will kiss Annie. So it's really sweet. And Annie they play together, like, you know, you role play, don't you, next to each other. But Millie really loves it, but she's a bit jealous of Harry today for some reason. Maybe because I'm talking on the video as well. That's enough. But you know, my dog sits with me everywhere I go, so she's not devoid of attention. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope I've kind of answered the question. Got a bit of cradle cat, mate. I hope I've answered all the questions. Now, I hope you've enjoyed watching us having this little lunch. No, it's dinner. It's tea time. Gosh, Mum, you need to get Grumpy's dinner ready in a minute. Hope you've enjoyed listening to what I've had to say. Certainly enjoyed listening to everybody else's. But keep loving those reborns. Keep loving us